Hello my earthy people, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Gerard the Watt, owner and creator of Earth's Curious Goods. And today our episode is going to be about witchcraft and being a witch and magic all together. This episode I'm probably not going to go in depth on magic, but just more of what it means to be a witch in my opinion, in my experience. And since I am a practicing witch and part of a coven, our coven is called the Coven of the Ancient Art. And there's a great website if you have time to go and take a look at it. We're part of it. I love the community there, and it's www.witchfox.com. And I'm not affiliated or anything with them, but it's just a great place if you guys have time to go there. And I'll put the link down below. So if you do forget, just at the end of the video, take a look. But witchcraft. I have been a witch since I was 13. And I remember my first experience was I was just curious. I think, you see the typical movies out there. At that time, Hocus Pocus, of course, wasn't out, but that's one of my favorite movies, or The Craft, and you see things like that. But it wasn't so much of that. I like those movies, but that's not what made me want to be a witch. It was more of a calling. You have to ask yourself if that is something that calls out to you. Do you feel yourself drawn to the earth, to natural things that are unexplainable, or maybe you experience things. So when I was 12 going on 13, I had what was called my first vision. And what it was is that I could just see things before they happen. And I remember it as clear as day. I was explaining it, my mom would always go through spurts in our household where she would just move the house around. So like she would just move our furniture, give it a brand new look, a spring cleaning, a summer cleaning, and I always loved it. I loved watching her. I always loved doing things with her, or just looking at how she would design things, and just love her to death. But one time I remember that I had a vision of one of her favorite, it was like a vase, and I knew it was going to break. I literally saw it falling off of the shelf and breaking, and I remember trying to tell her, like, hey mom, you should move that because that's gonna break. And I'm just a little kid, you just tell your mom, and she's like, oh, okay. And not even a few minutes later, it fell and it broke, literally exactly how I saw it. And I don't know, at that time period, it was always new. We didn't really discuss that a lot in our household, and I think it was kind of scary too. I remember my mom getting a little upset. I think she was just more upset that the vase broke, but it was like, at the time it was a new experience, and want to go down that road. But that's when I knew that I was a little different. And it happened more often. I would be in school and I would see certain kids fall, or I would know that my grades would be a certain way, or I would know what was planned for the next day, and I would have to be quiet because I quickly found out that not everyone could do that. That's not normal, or you would be looked at as an outsider or strange, or I remember some people's faces, especially like the other kids, they would get scared. They'd relate me to being something evil or unnatural, or I remember one kid just saying that like I'm like a devil worshiper, or just pointing their fingers and whispering and rumors. And I was quickly shunned when I was much younger in my middle school, and I had to learn how to hone my skills and grow as a person. But that's how I began seeking the way of witchcraft. And I found that through witchcraft it helped me hone my skills and learn who I was. And I'm not speaking for all the witches out there. I'm one of many witches, and that's what I love so much about the craft, is that you can be who you want to be. Don't let anyone else tell you anything different. And follow your gut instinct, follow your intuition. And there's some other traditions out there. There are witches out there that practice magic, like me, and there are witches out there that don't do magic at all. Magic is not part of it, and and it's a myth that if a witch can be a guy or a girl, or any walk. If you're trans, that you can be a witch. There's not where it's a set. I hate when I see these videos on YouTube or a lot of the stereotypes that a witch is just a female, woman that's empowered, that wears a pointy hat or a green nose, or we ride broomsticks, or magic is just instant. You snap your fingers and it happens. It's not like the movies. Magic doesn't quite work that way. To be a witch, you have to have respect for nature, respect for others, respect for the earth, and know who you are. It empowers you, and I love that part. There's even a part of witchcraft where it's a Dianic part where it's a lot of females, mostly females, and they worship the goddess Diana, goddess of the moon, I'm considered an eclectic witch. I use different techniques to the best of my abilities. It helps hone what I know, and it works for me, and it works for my coven. My coven decides, and I love, that's the best part about witchcraft, is that there is not a set leader in the group. Yes, I have been practicing longer than anyone in my coven, but they just look to me because of my wisdom. But if one of my coven members was to come up to me and they say, "Hey Gerard, I would like to cast the circle or lead meditation, or I want to do this spell and I want to go ahead and lead," then they lead. I pass it over to them or the next person, or if they want me to do it, I'll do it too, but just more for guidance. That's the best part about witchcraft, in my opinion, that it's just, it's wonderful that it's a circle. It's a circle of very close-knit friends, in my opinion, and we all have strengths and weaknesses, and together we help build each other up. What I lack, the other person, has, and what the other person has, maybe I lack, we're there for each other, and I love that, and I found that. And everyone finds their own path. There's different paths to the divine, to what have you, and however you want to call it. And there's Wiccans out there, and Wiccans have a different, religion. And, I was, yesterday I came across a few YouTube videos, for instance, and, and they were practicing witches much longer than even me. And they found that, in their videos, they specifically said, try not to be an eclectic witch. You should just focus on one part of the path, and that's the best way to approach witchcraft. And I don't agree with that. I don't, because I know from experience, from me and my coven, that being an eclectic witch is a wonderful thing. So don't hide, don't let these videos tell you that you should not be eclectic. If that's what your heart is saying, if that's what your intuition is telling you to do, then do it. Be an eclectic witch. If you just want to practice magic and leave the religious part of it or the spiritual part of witchcraft, altogether out, that's fine. You can just practice magic and not have to do that part. That's the best part, is that you have to make the craft your own, and it transforms. And I notice as generations go by and as time goes by, and the different covens and the different ways, there's different ways to approach magic or a higher source of the divine, and that's not necessarily wrong, and that's why I don't agree with some of these videos that I've come across. I even watched a video where she was saying in her video that you should be very careful of, New Age stores or witches altogether, because you could just walk in and you don't want to have to walk in and have to do, coven sex, or they're going to make you get naked, and like, you of all people, you are practicing witch, you of all people should not be spreading stuff like that. And it's already hard as it is, because people fear what they don't understand. And that's what I hope with my company and these videos and who I am, that to know something is to understand it more, and there's a middle ground. With hate and fear, I believe that you can actually replace it with love and understanding. And if we can't meet on that middle ground, that's why everyone always thinks that they're better than the next person, and it causes resentment and hate, and you're pushing the little person down. And I feel like, as we have a responsibility as witches, as people of the craft, that we should be promoting love and positivity and respect, and have devotion to your craft. If you're going to be a witch, have devotion. have division. Just, oh, I'll just do it on the weekends, or maybe I'll do it, every 6 months, and it's just something that I just want to do here or there because I'm more into just, trying to get results, and that's it. That could be your approach. If it works for you, that's fine, but I feel like to be an actual true witch, you need to have devotion, love, and you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to better where we are, your life, other people's lives. We are connected to everything. We're connected to each other. And because we, in my opinion, we're more of an enlightened human being, I think we should share that, Why not? Why do we have to, stay in the shadows, as they would call it? And maybe back then, I remember, I did a lot of reading. I highly recommend that you do a lot of reading. I have a whole library. I have a closet full of different books as I came across them. So if the book called out to me, or I feel like I can actually learn from that author or what they offer in there, and because I'm an eclectic witch, I have knowledge on different bases, voodooing or Wiccan. There's a lot of things that I've come across that, I like to learn about, and I incorporate some of them. So when I cast the circle, I use more of a Celtic path and mixture of Wiccan, and it works for me, and it has always worked for me, and I'm very blessed that, I was able to find my path in this direction that I'm on, and I love how I feel, and I love being able to help others. And as far as being a witch, that's something that you need to decide for yourself if this is a path for you. But there are a lot of sources out there. There are witches that remain what's called solitary. They don't work in a coven. They're by themselves, and they prefer that, and that may work. For me, I felt like coming across other people that understood what, I could do, some of my visions, tarot card readings or spell work, and coming across the different paths and being able to exchange that knowledge, I found comfort in that. And, and I think everyone should just give it a try. I'm not saying being part of a coven, but maybe, you come across another witch and you just want to ask them a question, or if you just want to ask me a question, that's fine too. I'll answer. I'm an open book, me or my coven members. And hopefully you guys will get to see them later on in some of these videos. But a recommendation though is, it's a great book if you come across it. It's called The Ultimate Book of Shadows for the New Generation Solitary Witch by Silver Ravenwolf. And I love reading about the different authors before I even open up the book. And for instance, it says Silver Ravenwolf, Pennsylvania, is a Wiccan high priestess and clan head of the Black Forest family that includes 28 covens around North America. She tours extensively and has been interviewed by the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and U.S. News and World Report as an expert on modern witchcraft. And, why I love this book is, she is a Wiccan high priestess, and she has so many different parts in this book that I love. And she tackles a lot of stuff in here, from sacred breathing to the different planetaries, affirmations, poppets and dollies, and handling fire, the witch's creed. I mean, if you're an eclectic witch or you just want to, take a look, I highly recommend this book. It is in my library, and I always every year, I always come back to this book somewhere in here. And, I have a lot of bookmarks in this page. The refresher, even if you're already a witch, maybe you just want a refresher or take a look at stuff, I highly recommend it. So, but books are a great source. Knowledge, I'm a ravenous reader. I love to read different things online, look at videos. I'm very visual too, but that's why I have a whole library. Is I learn a lot from others, experience. I do practice magic in my craft. It's just part of me. So there's a lot of spells that I've done, and some work, some don't. But like I said, you don't have to practice magic if you don't want to. It is not a requirement just because you're a witch. No matter, I don't care what anybody says, it's not a requirement. So if you just want to be a witch, and maybe the spiritual sense of it, maybe the spirituality, the guidance, and how you feel from being a witch is something that you want to do, that's fine. If maybe you just want to do the magic portion and not the spiritual religious part of it, that's fine too. And that's the best part, is that it's constantly evolving. Every witch that I come across, it's always a a different view, a different feel. They practice differently, and I learn from them, and they learn from me, and we exchange knowledge, whether it's online, in chat rooms, websites, YouTube videos, responses, or meeting for coffee, you know? And I learn from my coven members. Every day I always learn from them, just because I can explain a spell to them or a ritual that we're going to do, and they see it differently. Or they'll have questions that I didn't think would have come up, but they see it in a different light, so they have a different question, or a question that made me think about how that ritual worked or how that spell would work. I'm just like, oh, you know, I never thought about that. You know, it's like, that's a good point. You know, let's just do it together and see what results of it. And you know, and magic in the simplest form is just using the unseen energies and powers that are out there to cause things to happen in accordance to your will. It's almost like an Aleister Crowley. He didn't say the unseen part. I think his is more of like making cause things to happen in accordance to a witch's will. And I you know, there's some things that I read about Aleister Crowley that I thought was interesting. Some of the stuff that he has, you know, wrote or have done, I have incorporated some of that. Even the spelling of magic, for instance, I spell it like that all the time, and some witches don't spell it like that. It's, you know, but doesn't make their path wrong or doesn't make them wrong. It's just they see it differently than how I see it, or experience things differently how I experience it. Just like I'm pretty sure you have your own experiences, but I venture that you should at least try it out if you're interested. Don't be scared. A lot of people just get scared of change, and I think change is scary altogether. That's life. But I think the witches of the world, you know, we don't have to hide in the shadows, and then some witches don't. I have a good friend, you know, Dennis, if you're out there, but he was out in the open. He loves talking about witchcraft. He is a Wiccan, practitioner of it, and he wears his pentacle, for instance, his necklace out and about, and he has given me courage to come out and about, hence why these videos have become, you know, out now. I'm out the broom closet. But I'm happy that you know, I was sitting there and wondering, you know, that the world is always moving, people are always bustling and doing different things, and what am I doing? What is my difference? You know, as the days go by and the new day starts, what have I done today that I didn't do yesterday? What did I complete today that I didn't complete yesterday? And I can sit in my living room, sit in my bedroom, and complain all day that I'm mad that there's global warming, or mad that the government is doing this, or our president doesn't do this, and the environment, or they're killing all these dolphins over here every day so that we can get this tuna, and we're consuming and cutting down things more than we need to. But what have I done differently to even influence some of that? And well, doing my part now. So creating my company, doing these videos, and helping however I can, just doing my part. And I think it's a ripple effect. And I was also, there's this guy, Gary V. I watch his videos a lot. He's very influential, very inspirational. And he was saying in one of his videos not too long ago that with technology now, negativity is louder than it's ever been. And it's crazy that there are a lot of happy people out there, and there's positive people, and there's a lot of inspirational people out there, but they're not as loud, if you notice. We always hear more negative killings and murders in our media and Instagram and Facebook, and we want to gossip about this person broke up this person, and I hate this person, and she's too pretty, she's so stupid, and there's so much negativity, and they're much louder than for all of us that say, hey, I hope you have a good day. Oh, let me tell you all about what happened to me yesterday, and I've been so blessed. Oh, guess what? This is happening. You know, that doesn't get shared very often, or we ignore it. We don't even look at it. So I think if we all got together as witches, as people, and just make positivity louder, I agree with Gary that we can definitely start a ripple effect, and it's about change. And if you want change, you need to be change. If you want the world to be different, you have to be different. You can't go with the flow all the time. Sometimes you have to go against the natural flow, because sometimes that's not right. You have to, who's going to stand up and say that it's not right? So do your part. So, so I don't go off a topic. So, witches are, you know, we've been around for quite some time, whatever it was, you know, medieval times to the Dark Ages. I mean, and you know, and in some countries, witchcraft is still banned. You know, it's still not okay. You know, they still burn witches. There are some countries now that they will abandon their children if, you know, bad things happen to their crops. They blame it on their child, and when the child was born, they're evil. You know, and parts of the craft that evil isn't even part of the craft, you know, the devil as they would call it, you know, the stigmatization that, you know, we worship the devil, and that is not the case. And just like anything, there are some bad aspects to anything. There's light and dark. And just because, you know, somebody that is Christian does something bad doesn't make all Christians bad. Just because a witch did something bad doesn't make all witches bad. You can't lump everybody in one little bucket just because of one person. Their actions don't speak for everybody in that group, and that's just how it should be. And you know, a lot of people, they just go with the flow. That's not right. It's wrong. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you do it. And being a witch, I think we are a lot more sensitive to nature, a lot more sensitive to different energies, to people. You know, I came across a few witches that are empaths, and with these guys, they feel more. So if someone is sad around them, they take in some of that energy and they feel sad too. They can feel the emotions coming off of certain objects, people, pets, even plants. It amazed me, but you know, I don't have that gift, but you know, I thought that was really, really awesome. And there are different tools out there, and in my future videos, we'll go over some of that. My next video, obviously, will be next Thursday. We'll go over some parts of magic and witchcraft, maybe some of my tools, some tools that you could use to hone some of your skills, like tarot cards, and I also use what's called runes, and I'll go over some of that on my next video. But until then, if you have any questions, like I said, comment down below. If you like this video, thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to know when I do these new videos. So until then, blessed be. Hello. Hey. How should I say it? Hello, my earthy people, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Gerard the Watt, owner and creator of Earth's Curious Goods, LLC. Wait, what?